Too, so I better start talking really fast because I have 9 minutes of stuff that I have to get in that I don't want to miss, right? Okay, first of all, thank you for being here. Write that down. Write that down that I said that. This is very important because whenever, what are we talking about today? We're talking about what you can do right away to go home and get rich, right? Right? Like immediately, right? You don't like these long, dragged-out prosperity workshops that take a whole year to work or an Oprah program for 33 days, right? You want now, immediately. Okay, so the first thing that I need you to write down is what I just said. Thank you. I believe that in any shamanic tradition, in any kind of metaphysical work, in just everyday, polite human company, you say thank you. Because when you do that, it opens you up to receive more. If you're already full, or if you're one of the people, have you walked around the Expo and by any chance run into any people who know everything? No, and I don't necessarily mean presenters, okay, but I mean people that you run around, they want to explain it to you, tell you how it is, tell you why you're doing it wrong. They know everything. Guess what? They're full. They're full. There's no room. There's nothing else that's going to go in there, and you're not going to be able to help them until they empty out. That's what collapse is all about. So, how many of you have heard stories? Who ever read Elizabeth Kubler-Ross? Elizabeth, she was a good friend of mine when she was on the planet, and closer now that she's crossed over, because you know I'm a medium. Okay. So anyway, Elizabeth Kubler-Ross used to start many of her lectures by saying, "Who here hates your job? Raise your hand, everyone. Let me see. This is for Elizabeth. If you hate your job, okay. Tomorrow morning you have to go. Tomorrow, Monday, whenever, and quit." And the audience was like, "Whoa, right, whoa." And she said, "And you might even get rich." That is an example of if you are full. If you are full, nothing is going to ever fill you up because there's no more room. You've all heard the story of the Zen master pouring a cup of tea, yes? That he comes and he pours the tea and he says, "Okay, I can't teach you because you see how this tea is overflowing in the cup? If you're overflowing like this, there's nothing I can do for you." That's why so many great masters of spiritual traditions prefer to take students who know nothing. Okay, who haven't come with a lot of baggage of what they think they know and how things are supposed to be done. So that's why we start with thank you. Thank you says, I'm starting at the beginning. I have a beginner's mind. All right, so today, like every lecture that I give that's 45, 50 minutes long, there's so much to cover. And I don't know if you know this, if you have seen me before, but I like to talk. And I can talk for a long time. And I could talk about this subject all day. We could take a break, we could have dinner, we could come back, and we can start again tomorrow. So what I had to do is I had to center myself a little bit, and I wrote down 9 points. I do this every time, and I usually get through 3 of them. Okay, 9 points that I felt that the audience today needed to know. The gratitude affirmation is the very first one. Today we have psychological magic, emergency feng shui. What was the other one? Magical thinking. Okay, and I believe in all of these things. And I want to tell you something. I'm going to put this close to me so I make sure I don't go off track, because I get off track very fast because my mind goes at 1,000 miles per hour. And I'm not even like John Edward, who drinks 2 Coca-Colas before he does a gallery. Who's been to John Edward? Who's been to John Edward? I talk faster than he does. Do you think I talk? But I don't drink Coca-Cola. All I had is an Earl Grey cup of tea from Starbucks, which is more powerful. No, that's a true story. Before John gets started in a gallery, he likes to drink 2 Coca-Colas to help. Yeah, that's you know, that everyone needs their thing. You will never get what you want. Write this down. You will never, ever get what you want unless what you want is also what you expect. Okay, you will only get what you really expect. Now, this is very, very hard to accept when you're in the trenches of life and things aren't going well and your bills are in the mailbox and the money that you have is less than it seems that it's going to have to go out. Everyone has been in that situation. If you have not been in that situation, I want to do my second prosperity technique with you right now. My first one was to say thank you. My second one is, if money is not one of your problems, if having enough money is not one of your problems, and you are so abundant, and you are and wealthy, and you're dripping in jewels, or your jewels are at home, and you have millions of dollars, do not leave this room today without seeing me. I'm serious. I work for a foundation that helps to build schools in Africa. If money is not one of your problems, prosperity can be your problem without money being your problem. That's very true. Okay, I happen to know people that have millions and millions and millions of dollars and still consider themselves poor and hold on to it because they feel that they'll never have enough or something's going to happen terrible one day and they're going to need to have every penny. If you are one of those people, let me liberate you. Okay, see me afterwards because the foundation needs to have $1 million, $2 million, $10 million, whatever you can handle. Okay, that will build a lot of schools. I want to take a little break to tell you about schools just for a moment. It's a quick break. Who knows the statistics? Anyone any idea? How much do we spend on the war in Iraq every day? Every day? A lot. I heard 100 million. I mean, 57 a day. $1 billion a day. A day. That means in 6 days, how much is that? 6 times 6 billion. Okay. There's a study that shows that every child on earth that cannot go to school could go to school for about $6 billion. Totally. The whole planet. If we could build enough rudimentary schools to liberate people so that they can read. Now, I'm making a big deal about this because this is very important. You've heard of the law of attraction. We know this has been operating on the planet since the beginning of time. So in order for you to receive more cash, you must be willing to give more cash. This is so important. Cash is a flow. It's a circulation. If you don't understand that and you are so afraid to give, you're not going to ever get anything that's significant. You just will not. I have never seen a truly greedy person. Greed means I am afraid there is not enough, and there is a lot. There is enough cash in circulation that every single person on the planet could be a millionaire if you just knew how to tap into the energy. Every single person. I've never seen a greedy person that was truly happy. Even if they had millions of dollars, they were still poor. Because I know, I'm thinking of one in particular that comes to mind. She has tens and tens and tens of millions of dollars, but you would never know it. She never spends it. She's now 75 years old, and she's afraid she's going to need it one of these days. Okay? Seriously. So that is poverty consciousness. Poverty consciousness says, I can't help somebody else. How many of you have to be honest with yourself, how many of you have this little voice in the back of your head that says, I hear this all the time. I hear people come up to me, even after I say this. People in the audiences come up to me and say this. You know, John, there's so many people on my list that I'm going to help if I win the lottery. Right? Okay, so what are you really telling universe? You're telling universe, I don't have anything right now. I have nothing I can give. If you cannot give money, please give time. There are a lot of places that need your help. This is the most important thing before I get on to the magic. Without this giving consciousness, everything else I tell you will be greatly diminished and will only work about 10% of the 100% that it can work. Everybody got it? This is important. Okay, so you always get what you expect. All right, affirmations. This is to the psychological thinking. I was told to tell you about affirmations. Are you ready? All right. Your mind is always telling you everything about your life. Everything all the time. It's telling you what you're creating all the time, because it's not about the affirmation that you do in the morning, such as, and this one works, by the way, my income is constantly in flow and constantly increasing. Okay? That works. And I have taken people in seminars over a period of time and had them do this 20 minutes every morning for a month. And guess what? They go back and look at their books, and they made more money that month or made more money the next month, inexplicably. And then guess what happens? The month after that, they stop doing it. And that wouldn't be so bad, except that they didn't stop doing the other thing. And that's the thinking that says, oh, you know that feel, oh my God, the Visa card bill has come. And you sink, you collapse. And what happens when you sink and collapse? You register an emotion. When you register an emotion, you register the universe. There's not enough. And guess what universe does for you? Universe proves to you it's not enough. Have you ever heard that the energy of the universe is stupid? Who's ever heard that before? All right, I'm telling you right now, the energy of the universe is stupid. I'm so tired of all this divine intelligence nonsense. You know why it's stupid? Because it does exactly what you tell it to do. That's why it's stupid. If you want to believe you're poor, it will prove it to you. If you want to believe you're a prosperous individual, it'll prove it to you. And that's called divine intelligence. It's a neutral energy that is divine, but it's non-judgmental. So therefore, whatever you're resonating in your emotional body, that is the reality that you are going to create, and you're going to create it over and over and over and over. So, in the morning, when you're in that hypnagogic state of consciousness, oh my God, I said a fancy word. Who knows what hypnagogic means? You can imagine, right? It means you're kind of groggy. And you're in that state in the morning where, oh my God, you're asleep, but you're awake enough to enjoy it. Okay? Because you know what? Sleep is really wasted on sleeping people. Okay, because you don't enjoy it. If you're slightly awake, you're going to enjoy the sleep, right? Okay, good. So sleep in the morning, a little bit awake, reprogram the track. That's when you should lie there in your bed. That's when you should hit the button on your tape recorder in your own voice that says, today is the day. How many of you put your success off into the future? Today is the day. So tomorrow morning, well, you're busy. You have an expo to go to tomorrow, right? Okay. So tonight, tomorrow, you can at least start Monday. Whatever it is that you have been putting off. Everyone, think right now. Take a deep breath. Take a deep breath. And I want you to write down in your notebook, there is something. There's a phone call you've been meaning to make. There is an individual you've been meaning to ask for help. There is an SPCA that you've been meaning to make a donation to. When you get around to it and find the envelope in your pile of mail that, over here, get rid of the mail, call the SPCA, make your donation, and do it now. Today is the day. Okay? Don't wait until you win the lottery to try to help someone, because this is what happens. People who win the lottery, you see the studies all the time, people who win the lottery end up being in worse financial debt 5 years later. Did you see that on Oprah too? You saw that, right? Are in worse situation because what? Everything is the central nervous system. Write that down. Everything is the central nervous system. So that means the way you do one thing is the way you're going to do something else. You cannot take a person and extract them from their being. You cannot take a human being and extract them from their being. Whatever your being is, you are, no matter what you do. Okay? No matter what you do. So the affirmations that you tell yourself over and over and over through the emotions that you register are what is going to create your reality in a financial sense and in a relationship sense, in any sense of the word. Whatever you expect, not what you want, is what you're going to create. Okay, you got it? All right, good. Now that you understand that principle, I'm always hesitant to go into the magic that has worked for me. Don't you feel like people like, myself and Star Fuentes and Sean David, we all have a secret we're not telling you. There is a magic spell. I have them. I have them. They work. But guess what? They work after the work. They work after the work. The magic is what, if there is a cluttered path, you cannot get through there. If I give you directions on how to get upstate somewhere and the bridges have fallen, can you get there? Regardless of how good my directions are. Not likely. You're going to have to make other arrangements. You're going to need a helicopter, which means you're going to need a lot of money for that. Okay. So I want to go into a little bit of magic now. I have so many techniques I could share with you, but today, when I was just half an hour ago when I was making my list for you, I know that a lot of people in the New Life Expo probably read tarot cards, or you have a set of tarot cards at home. Please raise your hand if you have a set of tarot cards at home. Wave at me, please. Okay? You know, do like this. You know, this is the magician, right? Okay? Good. All right. So listen to me for a moment. If you have a set of tarot cards at home, or any other such symbols that indicate things like, oh, you're going to have a happy day, or you're going to have a wonderful relationship, or this marriage is going to be fantastic, or you're going to get really rich, or this is a new financial beginning, or don't leave the house today if at all possible. You ever had your tarot card say don't leave the house today, and then you put them away and you leave the house anyway? Yeah? Okay. Here's the thing. One of the techniques that you can use as far as psychological magic that will encompass all of your affirmation work into a project is something with art therapy. I'm a big, big believer in art therapy. Okay? And you see examples of art therapy in all magical traditions, whether it's sand paintings, whether it is the Tibetan monks doing the sand mandalas, whether it is candle carving, whether it is sigil writing, whether it is amulets that you're wearing. I believe that this is all a form of psychological magic, because where is the what is your greatest magical instrument, really? The only magical instrument? It's your brain. It's your brain. It's your consciousness. It's your central nervous system. That is your alchemical oven that creates everything. So, let's go back to the tarot. Rather than taking your chances on reading your financial future, how's your money going to be? Because you know when you read your cards about your money, you know what you're really hoping? This is what you're really hoping. You're really hoping, and to shuffle those cards, they're going to say everything's going to be wonderful, and you don't have to do anything about anything. Right? You're hoping for the Ten of Pentacles. You're hoping for the Sun. You're hoping for the Magician that says, oh, God, everything is there. You have all the elements working for you. You're going to be prosperous. You're going to be happy. And guess what? You can sit there with your remote control and watch TV and not do anything about it, and it's going to come into the front door in a big sack. That happens to 1 in like 1 billion people. Okay? And I don't know why that happens. I speculate it's because of their past life karma. And some of the people that happens to, they're in, like as I said, in a worse situation later than they were, before. So what you do with this technique is, I'm going to give you an example so that you don't have to go home and freak out and not be able to make a decision on what to use. I would start off with 3 cards. I would start off with something like the Sun, which can indicate great success, but also great spiritual success, maybe as the center point. I might end that with one of the cards like the 10 of Pentacles or the 9 of Cups that says a wish come true. Those of you who want a wish come true, be very careful, because you don't know what you're really wishing for sometimes. What you're really wishing for is what you expect, not what you want, as I said before. And then you might have something like the Ace of Coins that says, we are now entering into a period of financial new beginning that's going to be immensely successful, and it's going to bring me a happy life and happy home. Does that make sense? A way of doing this is to make a journal entry that says, this is what I am in the process of creating today. Not tomorrow, not it's coming one day, but in the process of creating today. And then you make that story with your tarot cards or with your other divination symbols. And if you are really determined to reinforce this in your subconscious, I would get out some paper, okay, a little sketch pad and some colored pencils, and I would try to make my own version of that card, stick it up on my board, and every time you see that, you know what that means. You've already interpreted it. You're going through the reading backwards. Does this make sense to you? People who do this, I will tell you this, to the maximum level of what you really expect. I mean, I've had people do this and come back and tell me, oh my God, oh my God, oh my God, you know, I did this thing, and all of a sudden my father gave me $10,000 into my account out of the blue for nothing. I have a friend in New York that happened to. And what was amazing, I love it when it happens to these type of people, because he was, like borderline agnostic, atheist, and of course things like feng shui and magic and stuff like that are just absolutely out of the question. But then when he gets $10,000 in his account within a week, do you know why that worked for him so easily? Because he truly had no expectation about it one way or the other. He went through it, he did it, he programmed the universe, and it happened, and now he's practicing feng shui all the time, and it's working for him, and working for him fast. But then I have other people who've been in the New Age movement for years, and guess what? Nothing happens for them. Nothing happens for them. Because you look at it and you go, and you look at the bills and and you look at the reading on the wall, and you're just hoping it's going to do something. And you have got to get up with yourself. Anyone ever heard that expression? You've got to get up with yourself. You cannot wait for it to happen to you. You have to generate a frequency in your nervous system that is vibrating so strongly that when you see that psychological magic on the wall, that art therapy, that you do it and you make it happen, you do it right away. All right. How am I doing for time? How am I doing? What time is it? 2:30. Okay, I don't got much time. I got many more points to give to you. Okay. Let's talk about a couple of one more quick ritual, and then I want to talk about feng shui, because what I have had the most success with, and I think it's because I'm a technical person, is the feng shui magic. Okay, which I want to talk to you about. But for those of you who aren't that technically minded, are not going to get a compass out and figure out which way north is. Okay, no, that takes some doing, because I want to tell you something. Write this down. In Manhattan, uptown is not north. It is not north. Write this down, in case you don't know this already automatically. Downtown is not south. Crosstown is not west and east. Isn't this just, God did this on purpose. He tilted the island, okay, so that lay feng shui practitioners would not have access to the hidden knowledge. All right? So, but I can fix this for you. All right? Downtown is southwest, which means that uptown is northeast. You see, it's just a little approximately. And this is very important to know when doing feng shui magic. But before we come to that, I want to tell you of a technique that my mother really loved and has done for many years, and she will, at reunions and Christmas and other times, testify to other people of how well it works for her. I, as an astrologer, and I am an astrologer, I'm very educated in astrology. I love to work with moon cycles. Okay? And all of you can learn to work with moon cycles very easily. You look on a calendar or you look on an ephemeris and you find out the exact time for your time zone that the moon is new. Be careful. If the moon is new at 6 o'clock tonight, don't do this at 6 o'clock in the morning, because the moon hasn't gotten new yet. Then in that cycle, you're in something that's called the dead of the moon, which is no energy, which is death, which is letting go, which is flushing away, which is letting go of things, not creating the new. Stocks, by the way, that I've seen issued on the dead of the moon don't tend to do very well, okay? To go bankrupt or struggle for many years before going bankrupt. But if you get to that new moon time, following that, maybe the next morning or in the next few hours, this is a time where you can use the cycle to create something new in consciousness. And what my mother likes to do is she likes to make herself a special pot of green tea after the new, because green tea to her signifies green, money, okay? And she likes to drink the green tea doing her prosperity affirmations for that month. She has a lot in Taurus. All right, those of you who are astrologers know that Taurus is, they need to do their money affirmations. It makes them feel better so that they can go shopping and hoard things. All right? No, it's true. Who is a Taurus in here? You go and you clean up your house right now. You clean up your house. You sell the extra stuff. Liberate some energy so that you can get some flow and something else coming in. That's only a symptom of a Taurus that is out of balance. I have one more technique for you before feng shui magic. This one works for me immensely, but it takes a commitment. Okay, and I'm going to apply this strictly to money, but it's really for your whole life. Right after the new moon, I want you to get a notebook, okay, a spiral notebook. And I want you to date the notebook at the top with whatever the date is starting at the new moon. And for 28 days, I want you to make a list on this page. Fill it up. Fill it up. List phrases, sentences on this topic. These are things I would like to buy sometime in my life. And you can get specific. You want the little house on the hill, or you want the big house on the hill. You want 100 acres of land. You want an emerald necklace. Whatever it is that you imagine at some point you would like to buy. Okay? Fill the page up with it. But here's the important part of the technique. You have to do it again the next night. But you cannot refer back to the page before. Does that make sense? Don't look back. And you're going to think, oh my God, I'm forgetting something. Well, if by day 2 or 3 you forgot something, guess what that tells you? You don't want it that badly. You just imagine you want it, but the thing that you really desire, want, and trying to create, you think you're going to forget that? You're not. So what you do is you continue to do that for the full days, and what you'll see is through the law of attraction, already, if you are clear, if you don't have baggage, because remember the principle is the magic works to the maximum potential of how clear you are right now. If you're a little clear, it'll work a little. If you're very clear, it'll work a lot. If you're very positive and prone to magic, it's going to work just like that. Very, 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 very fast. And you're going to start to see life prove all of that to you quickly. Okay? Do this starting as soon as you can. You can start tonight. It doesn't matter. You don't have to wait for the new moon unless you're an astrologer. You don't have that kind of data. You don't have an astrological neuroses. So you can start tonight. Okay? The new moon. Don't start tonight. The new moon is tomorrow. We're on dead of the moon. So what do you do today? You need to be releasing. Well, you need to be releasing all of your negative energy when you go to the bathroom and you pee. Look, I believe in multitasking. We are busy. We have iPods. We have Blackberries. We have Facebook. Oh my God, is anyone getting Twittered? Oh my God, we have all this stuff. So when you have to multitask, don't waste a good pee. I'm serious. When you go to the toilet, this is the time. I am now releasing all energies that are not useful to me. Thank you. You don't have to say, oh, you know what? Can you all please, when you go to the stalls, can you say it, do it out loud? You can do it out loud at the New Life Expo, right? Do it out loud so the people in the stall next to you can hear you doing it, okay? And say, oh, excuse me, what are you doing? I say, oh, well, I'm at the New Life Expo. I heard this in a seminar, right? No, I'm saying you are releasing, because why not be in harmony with the natural function of the body anyway? Release what is not necessary. Tomorrow, after new moon, do you know the time?
It's at 1:33 in the morning.
Tonight?
Yes.
Eastern Standard Time? 1:33 a.m.? Okay, so tomorrow morning you can start. Today, release. Tonight, after 1:33 in the morning, you need to start calling in the new energies. That's when you start doing your writing and your journaling, and you're all a metaphysical, alchemical people, so you're up at night scrying in mirrors and burning incense. So you'll be up. Don't worry. You'll be awake. So let's go to feng shui for a moment. How much time do I got now? I got a good 10 minutes. Oh, I got 10 minutes. Okay, you ready for the feng shui magic? Listen carefully. Listen carefully. There is something like in astrology, in Chinese astrology, in Chinese feng shui, that determines personally for you what's considered your ultimate direction for success. Your ultimate direction for success. Let me tell you how that works. Let's say, for example, that your ultimate direction for success is this way that I'm facing. Okay? This is in Chinese metaphysics, it's called the Shang-Chi direction. So that means if I'm looking in this direction, doesn't it make sense that if I'm programming my mind that way, that I'm going to take a deep breath and I'm going to be nourished from that direction? If I'm asleep at night, this is the direction I want my crown going toward. Now, I know you have other traditions that will tell you, put your head to the north or put your head to the east, or, you meet Wiccan people who tell you that the altar has to be facing the east, or so forth. I think all of those things work if you program yourself for them. I'm telling you what has worked for me, and has worked for me fantastically. That if I work typing on the computer, facing in this direction, and all the time I am breathing in the energy of that particular direction, that works for me. If I'm asleep at night with my head pointing in that direction, that works for me. This is a calculation that takes a little time to do. So here's what you do. Here's what you do. If you would like to know what your personal direction is, okay, you have to email me. I answer everybody who has a legible email address. And anyone who I told this to the last time, my assistant told me that 1/3 of your email addresses, even though after I told you to print legibly, came back. Unknown email address. That means you didn't print legibly. Remember, the computer, like the universe, is very unforgiving. You make one mistake, the whole thing doesn't work. And I have no way of then letting you know. So please, if you would like to figure that out, I will do it for you so that you can have something to start working with right away and immediately. All right, I want to tell you also, according to Chinese metaphysics, right now we are in a long period until 2021 where the southwest direction is considered to be a very auspicious direction for all things that are financial. Okay, those of you who are used to doing compass school feng shui, some of you do compass school feng shui, some of you do black hat feng shui. I have studied with masters of all of these feng shui traditions, and for me, black hat is so rich in symbolism, and I love symbolism. But for me, what has worked the most is using the directions on the compass, because here's something you have to remember about feng shui. You ready for this? You have to repeat after me. Are you ready? Okay. In order for feng shui to bring me lots of money, my house does not have to look like a Chinese restaurant. Okay, I'm serious. Look, how many of you right now have gone out and bought tassels and hung them here and hung them there and put up chimes, and all of a sudden your friends come over and you want to know where the egg foo young is. You think you're doing a theme party. Yeah. And I'm sure that Oprah's house looks like that, right? Okay, let me tell you something about this type of cure. They all work if you know how to work them, but here's the problem. Have any of you, who here works out regularly? You know that I own a martial arts studio, and I teach martial arts, traditional martial arts. So you know after you go and you work out, you kind of stink, right? You have to wash. What about if you have a date, and you decide, oh, I don't have time to wash? So you get out your Calvin Klein or your Chanel number, whatever, and you spray yourself, and you go out like that. Does anyone do that? Who does that? If you have a messy house, with clutter and dust in every direction, and you hang up a chime, you're doing that. That's exactly what you're doing. You're just trying to put perfume over the stinky environment. It does not work. It may work a little bit, but it does not ultimately work. Have you ever heard the expression that cleanliness is next to godliness? Is that in the Bible? I'm not sure. Is it? Somewhere in there. Okay. But I think we're taught that in Sunday school. Cleanliness is next to godliness. Here's why that works. A couple of reasons. Number one, dust is the past. You know, dust is not about the moment. Dust is about what fell off of your skin, other people's skin, what's floating in the air, and the exhaust that settled into your house. And you know that if you live in New York, you dust this morning, you get home this afternoon, and it's all dusty again. Right? Okay. All right. So that's one reason. The second reason is this. In classical feng shui, we're really talking about two things: energy that is potential, or yin energy, or feminine energy, or dark energy, and energy that is light energy, or active, or masculine. You've heard this before, right? Okay, so an example of a very yin energy would be someplace like a church, or a funeral parlor, or in your house, a closet, or an attic, or something this way, where everything is just... It's potentially something, but it's dark and it's kind of forgotten about, and no one goes there very much. Does that make sense? Okay, in a room, the most yin part of a room might be the corners, because you don't often go into the corners. You forget about those corners. All right, that's why they're always telling you to put something in a corner. All right, but cleanliness is next to godliness is in itself a magical practice, because it forces you to use the directions. If you truly are going and spritzing and spraying and dusting, you're truly using the directions, because the best feng shui masters that I've met have not told me to put up a fountain, or although I love fountains, or to spray things, or to start carrying a particular amulet or a stone, but just use that area. If for this particular cycle, the way that the flying stars are this year, or for a longer period, it says the southwest is a wonderful prosperity direction, sit in a chair there. Use it. Make sure that it's being active in some way, because remember, there's yin energy, there's yang energy. The yin energy means it's in potential. The yang energy means that it is active, and you're trying to activate things. Feng Shui is a wonderful, wonderful, deep, deep study. It is a lifetime study. It's one of the subjects I know a lot about. Do you know the subjects I know about? I'm a great astrologer. I know Feng Shui, many schools. I am a traditional martial arts teacher. And this is kind of off the track, but not really. I could have been a professional tennis player. Okay, but I chose the mystical path. I used to play tennis 6 hours a day, 6 days a week. 6 in the morning was my first practice. I always talk about that for this reason. You are never going to be successful and make any money in your life if you try to do it at something you don't love. I loved tennis enough that I am like this in the car at 5:30 in the morning to get to my first practice, so I could be there at 6. I didn't have to make myself wake up. I always beat the alarm. I always turned the alarm off before it went off. If you have not found that vibration happening in your life, that's the first thing you need to do, because as I told you, all of these techniques I gave you are not going to work unless you clear the path for yourself for them to work. They will only work to the maximum potential of what? What you expect. What you expect. And if you don't really, and here, you have to work backwards sometimes. If you are getting something in your life, but you're telling that you think you do not want, that is exactly what you're expecting somewhere. And you have to take the time to do the work, to find out what that expectation is, so that you can change it and create a wonderful, glorious, fantastic life for yourself. I think my time is running out. I am so happy that you have been here. I want to say thank you to you one more time. And remember, the millionaires in the audience, don't you dare leave this room. I want to see you in the back. I'd like $1 million donation from my foundation. And if you have millionaire friends and you want to help the world in some way with my school building project in Africa, tell them to come. I'll take $1. You give me whatever you want. We're going to do it. Out in the back, not up here in the front, so that we can get ready for Star Fuentes is next, I believe. Okay, Star is going to be next, so stay around for that. Thank you very much, everybody. It's John.